changing and evolving rapidly, technology is also growing exponentially, where every technological development creates a critical impact to humanity. Inevitably, technology has immensely changed the life of everybody. In other words, it changes how we can act, it transforms everything and makes life easier, empowering learning in every step of the journey. In today's world, the role of technology is very important, most especially in education. However, we can't deny that technology has also comes with so many risks. Despite technology having essential opportunities in teaching and learning, both teachers and students should also recognize different issues on ICT and have the responsibility to use technology responsibly. Hi, hey, hello. It's a pleasant day and happy learning to each and everyone. Welcome to another episode of our lesson where we will be learning a lot so that we will not put ourselves into danger. But before anything else, I am Ernest Angelica T. Sebastian, a second-year student coming from BS Ed English. I am your observant and presenter for today's undertakings towards attaining the biggest prize, which are the learnings from this subject. Prepare yourselves. Be aware and alert for us not to be at risk as we will look forward to achieve the following learning objectives, which is, by the end of this lesson, we students are expected to identify and explain safety issues on the use of ICT and listed and applied e-safety rules in the use of ICT. Aside from that, these are the following topics which we are going to tackle on this learning journey. The first one is the risk in the use of ICT and e-networking. Second, the minor misuse of ICT and e-networking. Next, misuse of ICT safety, network management, and setting up an educational technology room. Now, are you all ready to learn today's topic? Well, without further ado, let the learning begins. Technology is a phenomenon that seems to be uncontrollable. Despite the so many benefits for teaching and learning, there are also negative effects or influence of technology on the learners. As future teachers, we should have to be aware of how to safeguard learners in the school communities where they spend most of their waking hours, and also in their homes or facilities that provide opportunities to use digital technologies. Because safeguard and protection should be the primordial role of parents, teachers, and schools. So, technology is not a risk by itself, but how it is used will be vulnerable to risk. Did you know that when technology is improperly used at school and at home, it will pose danger to the users? That is why it is necessary to address safety policies and guidelines in ICT and at the same time be aware of the different risks in the use of digital technologies. So without further ado, here are some risks in the use of ICT and e-networking. First is the exposure to inappropriate content, including online pornography, extremism, exposure to violence associated with racist language. Exposure to inappropriate content that may be an image, video, or written words that can be upsetting, disturbing, or offensive. Young people may encounter inappropriate content accidentally or deliberately. It is normal to be curious, but young people may be faced with concepts they are not ready for developmentally and not right for their age. Next, lifestyle websites like self-harms, suicide sites, and hate sites. This is very dangerous as it can cause mental and emotional damage to children. Third the cyberbullying in all forms, receiving sexually explicit images or messages. Children or students who are exposed to this is very dangerous to a young person's health and well-being. As future teachers, we should be aware and prevent our students or children from any inappropriate content that offends them. Then next, the privacy issues, including disclosure of personal information. An example of this is sharing your personal information on public. In this case, your personal information will be put at risk to an identity thief, scams, or fraud. That is why one must observe confidentiality and privacy of personal information should be taken account. Then another risk is the health and well-being. Amount of time spent online, internet gaming, and many more. Prolonged exposure to online technologies, particularly at an early age. Addiction to gambling and gaming. As we know, too much exposure online can harm us. It changes also one's behavior, wherein children will become more addicted in utilizing most of their time online to the point that it will affect their social relations. To put this simply, children's health and well-being will be affected of too much exposure online. 8 is the thief and fraud from activities such as phishing. This pertains to identity thief, or should we say a type of online scam that targets netizens by sending an email that posing as a legitimate source. And then 9th, viruses, trojans, spyware, and adult malware. These are malware short for malicious software. This includes viruses and spyware to steal information, send spam, and commit fraud. And lastly, the social pressure to maintain online networks via texting and social networking sites. Nowadays, social media or networking sites can make a bigger impressions than your actions. That causes unhealthy expectations. When we mean by social pressures, it refers to when an individual feels pressure to adjust their personality, lifestyle, or social media activities to what they perceive that will give them more acceptance and rewards. An example for this is the social pressures linked to likes. Young people who are fond of social networking sites feel pressure to fit in and be liked by their peers and classmates, and this just affects the well-being of the children. Aside from those risks, there are also minor misuse of ICT. In school, some minor misuse made by learners include the following: copying information into assignment and failing to acknowledge the source, and this is what you call plagiarism or copyright infringement. This is a common problem and may be illegal because it is the act of taking a person's original work and presenting it as if it was your own. Students mostly depend on the internet when it comes to looking for information, and forgetting to acknowledge the author or source of the information is what you call plagiarism. Next is the downloading materials not relevant to their studies. Some learners actually abuse ICT for their own interests, and it has been considered a problem that other students have utilized ICT on other things and become too occupied with it, not prioritizing their studies. Next, misconduct associated with subject logins, such as using someone else's password, leaving a mobile phone turned on during class period. As we are very aware that sometimes mobile phones is considered a distraction during class hours because students are more focused on their phone rather than listening to the discussion. And lastly, unauthorized taking of pictures or image with mobile phone camera, still or moving. This is an inappropriate act, especially to students who are taking pictures without asking permission and making fun of those pictures they have taken and posting it on public. With all of those concerns and many more, how do we confront all of this so as to protect our future generation? Good thing we have e-safety. What do we mean by e-safety? E-safety takes care not only of internet technologies, but also of electronic communications via mobile phones, game consoles, and wireless technology. It highlights the need to educate children and young people about the benefits, risks, and responsibilities of using information technology. Now, what do you think does e-safety can do for us? E-safety helps safeguard children and young people in the digital world. E-safety emphasizes learning to understand and new technologies in a positive way. E-safety educates children about the risks as well as the benefits so we can feel confident online. And e-safety supports young learners and adults to develop safer online behaviors both in and out of school. All in all, e-safety means being safe on the internet. As future teachers and parents, we really need to ensure that children and students are able to use the internet and related communication technologies appropriately and safely. With the increasing reliance on technology in today's time, it is becoming more important to secure every aspect of online information and data. To do that, it is important to know network management. So what is network management? Network management is providing functions to control, plan, allocate, deploy, coordinate, and monitor network resources. Network management is part of most or all network devices. Its purpose is to maintain the upkeep of a network so it can continue to function properly and meet the needs of the users. So number 1, safety in the use of network in schools. And this includes make clear that no one should log on as another user. Require all users to always log off when they have finished working. Maintain equipment to ensure health and safety. Provide students with access to content and resources through guided e-learning. Set up a clear disaster recovery system in a place for critical data that include secure remote backup of critical data. Secure wireless network to appropriate standards suitable for educational use. Install all computer equipment professionally and meet health and safety standards. And lastly, review the school ICT systems regularly with regard to health and safety. Next, which is related to password policy. Only authorized users will have individual passwords. And users are not permitted to disclose their passwords unless they got permission from the owner or from the management. The equipment that keeps the personal information shall be locked when unattended to prevent unauthorized access. Computers should be set to a timeout if they become unused for a certain period of time. Number 3, personal mobile phones and mobile devices. All mobile phones shall be kept away in a box away from the children or learners, and access is only allowed at break time or at the end of classes or when needed during class period. This is actually to ensure that children or learners will not be distracted. Instead, they can be focused on their classes. An example of this is teachers confiscating the phone of the students and will just return it at the end of the class period. And this is to ensure that students uses their class time efficiently. Then number 4, cameras. Taking pictures only from parents or caregivers and not from any family member or friend while the child attends class. And only picture taken from children shall be on cameras solely for purpose. Technology offers a tremendous experience for children and learners learning. And on the path of maximizing technology safely is setting up educational technology room for them. Schools that plan to dedicate a room where the students can access technologies for learning should include the following basic safety rules. First, provide tiltable tables, and these tables can be tilted and adjusted to the height of the users. 2. Provide anti-glare screen filters. Anti-glare filters help diffuse glare and reduce mirror-like reflection, so your screen is easier to see even in challenging and changing indoor lighting conditions, brightly lit indoor areas, or near windows. Number 3, provide adjustable chairs. Number 4, provide foot support. Number 5, make sure lighting is suitable. 6, make sure workstations are not crumpled. And number 7, plan work at a computer so that there are frequent breaks. You would not imagine that using computers could be dangerous, but there are few situations that can result in accidents. More specifically, safety rules that can reduce risk of accidents in working stations should include: number 1, no trailing wires across or around the room which people can trip on. Computer equipment is often connected to a lot of cables, power, network, and etc. And if these cables are lying on the floor, they can cause people to trip over them. And the only solution to this is to place the cables inside cable docks or under the carpet or flooring. And this is to prevent accidents for people, and that is why trailing wires should be put in place. Number 2, electrical sockets should not be overloaded. Plugging too many power cables into a socket can result in the socket being overloaded, overheating, and a fire starting. That is why never plug too many cables into a socket. Number 3, electrical equipment should be safety tested at least once a year. This means that electrical equipment should be checked or be maintained safe in order to avoid accident. Number 4, there should be adequate space around desks for people to move. Number 5, bags and obstacles should be stored out of the way. 6, food and drinks should not be placed near machines. If any liquids are split on electrical equipment, such as a computer, it can result in damage to the equipment or an electric shock to the user. That is why it is important to keep drinks and food away from machines. 7, heating and ventilation should be suitable for the working environment. 8, fire extinguishers should be available. Always make sure there are fire extinguishers nearby so that in case of emergency like fire disaster, the problem would be prevented. And 9, and fire exits should be clearly marked and free from clutter. There are more issues and policies and rules. What we have just seen in the presentation are just the minimum that we should learn. And as as we explore some more and engage in different aspects of technology for teaching and learning, we will find more details and learn a lot about e-safety rules in ICT. In conclusion, we can't deny that technology have given us a lot of advantages, such as convenient access for information, learning, and more. However, technology also comes with risks. And it is very important to recognize the different issues and rules in the use of ICT, because in that way, we are able to protect our children and students from danger. And I believe that e-safety serves as a guidance to us to be aware and be protected of the impacts that technology can bring to us. So that would be the end of my discussion. Again, I am Hernes Angelica T. Sebastian. Thank you very much.